Have you ever wanted to command your own giant mech suit? Well, with the new Gundam card game, it places you directly into the pilot seat for some epic battles of colossal proportions. Hey everybody, my name's Parker and I'm with Game Nerdz, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play the brand new Gundam card game. First, let's kick it off with a simple overview of the game. As with most TCGs, your goal is to eliminate your opponent in a skirmish-style format. Each of you will take turns deploying units and working through the multiple phases of your turn to do the most damage to the other. The first one to destroy someone's base, all 6 of their shields, and does one final blow, wins the game. Before we get into the gameplay setup and tactical combat, let's cover the card anatomy and different types of cards you'll encounter on your Gundam journey. In the Gundam card game, you'll find 4 types of cards that will represent your 50-card deck. Each of the card types can be quickly identified by looking at the text on the edge of the left-hand side. Here, you'll find Unit, Pilot, Command, and Base cards. When composing your 50-card deck, you're allowed up to 4 copies of any card with the same name. Aside from those quantity restrictions, feel free to create your deck with any combination of units, pilots, command, and base cards. Units are your fighters, so you'll want to be sure to have plenty of these in your deck. You'll be deploying these units onto the battle area once you've met the level and cost conditions, but more on that later. Pilots are, well, they're pilots to your Gundam units. While each unit doesn't require a pilot in order to be functional in this game, they do add amazing buffs to your unit's attack and defensive values. Any pilot can be played underneath any unit, which is called pairing. Some pilots, such as Amuro Ray, have triggered effects when they're paired, so keep an eye out for that. Speaking of Amuro Ray, he and many other pilots actually own certain units. This ownership is labeled on the bottom left-hand side of the unit card. When Amuro Ray is paired with a unit he owns, it's actually called a link. When you link with a unit, you'll still get the rewards from the pair trigger. We'll cover more benefits of linking later in the video. Command cards can be viewed as spells, in a sense. They often have a one-time effect that triggers when played, but then are immediately placed in the trash rather than staying on the field like a unit or a pilot. And lastly, we have our base cards. Each player starts the game with what's called an EX base token. These have 3 defense, and once they're destroyed, they're exiled, also known as removed from the game area. As I mentioned earlier, it's your opponent's job to crack through your base and then start attacking your shields if they want to win. One surefire way to slow them down is to re-establish a base with even greater defense later in the game. Aside from your 50-card deck, you'll also have a separate 10-card deck called your resource deck. Be sure not to shuffle these cards into your main deck because we'll be going over the importance of these cards later on in the video. In the Gundam card game, there are currently 4 different colors that lend themselves to different archetypes. As the game evolves, more colors can be added, but for now, the colors are blue, red, green, and white. When building your deck, you can have up to 2 different colors, so get crafty and see which combinations suit your playstyle. Blue cards focus more on mid-range attack and utilize card draw, resting opponents' cards, and repairing your injured units. Red cards have a bit more of an aggressive stance, utilizing keywords such as breach to deal excess damage to enemy shields after they've already dealt damage to other units. Green cards can often give tanky buffs to your units, giving them additional HP so they can stay in the game a little longer. White cards are often used for their stopping power and can be used for block or redirect incoming damage. This can be especially helpful when trying to keep another unit alive or even your shields up. Now that we have a good understanding of the different types of cards and their potential strategies, let's get a closer look at the card anatomy. In the top left corner of the card, you'll find 2 numbers. One is associated with the level, and the other is the cost to play the card. If, for example, you have 2 resources in your resource area, you are at level 2 and can play cards from your hand equal to or less than that level. You'll still need to pay the cost of the card by resting the resources required, indicated by turning the card horizontal. At the center of the card, you'll find the card's name and the designated text box. Here, you'll find a handful of keywords and abilities that will help your overall strategy. On the bottom of the card, you'll find the associated traits. These can be anything from a group, class, or type, and will often be referenced on other cards to show synergistic applications. On a unit, this is also where you'll find the name of the owner, just beside the word link, which we discussed earlier in the video. Lastly, on the bottom right, you'll find a unit or base's attack points and health points. These indicate the strength in which they can deal damage and can withstand damage. Now, I know we've done a lot of technical talk, but it's finally time to get the game set up and showcase a few rounds of combat. Once you and your opponent have selected a deck that suits your interests, it's time to shuffle up and use any method you wish to select who goes first. Then, place your deck in the deck area and 10 resource cards in the resource deck area. Next, you'll draw 5 cards from the top of your deck. It's at this point you have the opportunity to mulligan. Remember that cards have certain level and cost requirements, so if you draw a hand with high level and costs, it might be best to perform a mulligan. To mulligan, place all 5 cards to the bottom of your deck. Draw 5 new cards from the top of your deck and then shuffle. Now you'll take 6 cards from the top of your deck and place them face down into your shield area, being sure not to look at the face of the cards. Each player then takes their EX base token and places it into the base section. The player going second will place an EX resource in their resource area. And with that, we're ready to start the game. When taking your turn, you'll observe the following 5 phases: start, draw, resource, main, and end. During the start phase, you'll rotate any horizontal cards so that they're vertical. By definition, in the Gundam card game, horizontal cards are called rested, and vertical cards are called active. Keep in mind that during your first turn, you won't have any rested cards, so we can proceed to the next phase. The draw phase is pretty self-explanatory, so go ahead and draw the top card of your deck, adding it to your hand. Next up is the resource phase. Grab a single resource token from your pile and add it face up into the resource area in the vertical or active position. Stepping into the main phase, we can now rest a resource and play a unit or command card. When playing a unit, it will be placed into the battle area. Keep in mind that units cannot attack during the turn you play them unless otherwise notated on the card. With our resource spent and nothing left to do, our turn is over and we can now move to the end phase. During the end phase, if you have more than 11 cards in your hand, you will need to discard any card of your choice until you have the max hand size of 10 cards remaining. Now we can pass our turn to the next player who will perform these same phases. Let's jump ahead a bit and showcase some examples of attacking. In this example, we're in our main phase and have the ability to attack with Gun Tank. Since we cannot attack our opponent's units while they are in the active position, we decide to attack their base instead. Their base has an HP value of 3, so we will indicate the 2 damage dealt by using a counter. With nothing left to do on our turn, we can move to the end phase and pass our turn. Skipping ahead, our opponent decides to attack with Goof? Gauf? We're going to go with Goof. During their main phase, they decide to target our gun tank since it's in the vulnerable rested position. When a unit attacks another unit, they deal damage to each other. In this example, Goof deals 2 damage to gun tank, but the gun tank also does 2 damage to Goof. This leaves both units with 1 HP remaining. Attacking units is important, but nothing is more important than destroying your opponent's shields. Once the base is out of the way, a single point of damage can destroy the topmost shield. In this example, we swing our GM into a shield, destroying it. Once destroyed, it gets flipped over and then put into the opponent's trash. Some cards have burst effects, which trigger when they're destroyed from the shield position. For example, if the shield we destroyed was full frontal, its burst effect says to add it to the player's hand. This back and forth of managing units and destroying shields continues until one person is left with no shields and then takes one final blow, thus determining them the loser of the game. The Gundam card game is a fantastic skirmish-style game featuring strategic scenarios and chess-like puzzles to overcome. With a bit of practice and skilled deck building, you too can be a master pilot. If you want to try your hand at the game, be sure to visit GameNerds.com to discover the various products we have available. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Once again, my name is Parker, and I'll see you next time.